Welcome back. Another wonderful day of Fusion 360. We're going to go through lesson number 7 today, and that's going to be a bunch of different things because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to include standard tools that you'd use making sort of real world objects or doing whatever you want to make, but things that you probably will go through, and because you won't use single tools here and there, which is where a lot of these educational videos are at, where we have I'm going to show you what the fillet is like, what the chamfer is like, what the shell's like, all in individual videos. I've done that in the past with the create form environment, but now I'm going to try and sort of gear it another way where we're going to work together and make something really cool, but also learn some different techniques while you're doing it. Today, we're going to make a vacuum. Well, not a whole vacuum. Let's try and sort of mimic the Dyson Cyclone technology, or whatever they call it in their patent. I hope if they're watching, don't worry, I'm not copying this to make. This is just for educational purposes, but it's a great way of using tools in the modify menu, which is the goal of today, where we have things like shelling. We probably won't use draft, but I'll show you, and combine all. I use combine all the time. Offsets, and also things like replacing faces and splitting bodies, which are common, but there's a few ways to do it, and it depends on whatever your workflow is. Because as an example, splitting bodies, great if you have a plane that you're splitting with, but really you typically just create a new sketch on that edge, on the edge that it's splitting, and then just cut through it, pull it through, instead of using this tool itself. So lots of things like this, and let's get right into it with our vacuum. So Dyson has this wonderful thing, Cyclone technology, they call it. This is not exact measurements by any means. I'm just going to even it out for 100 millimeters, and we're going to pull. This is going to be the main belly of the Cyclone beast. Let's go 150, make it nice and tall. So what this is our basically main cylinder. At the top will have the ring of the different Cyclone funnels that they have pulling into this main body as well. So with this thing, we have to pull it out. So I'm going to do it two different ways. Let's go 50. No, how about this? 40 millimeters and pull it all the way through, because they have this bottom part, which is a cap. I think this is all just from my memory. I don't even own Dyson myself. I'm doing this for fun, and just show you what these kind of things are doing. So we're going to use the shell tool, which there's two ways to use it. One is the way we want to use it today is to click the tool first and to actually click not the body, but the face that you don't want to be there. If I click it and I select, let's say 2 millimeter shell, then it shells the entire body, but it cuts away that face. It doesn't actually remove 2 from the top, but you can see it's still the exact same height. 2, yeah, but it just shells that top. The other way to do it is to click the body and then click the tool and hit 2, and what it does is it shells the inside but leaves that outside ring that we wanted on the top. So it depends on what you want, and it doesn't really tell you that kind of stuff when you first use the tool. But we're going to shell the top off. There we go. Next thing to do, we are going to be, I think, this is not going to be perfect. This won't be a working vacuum. This is just an example. We are going to take this top and we're going to expand it out. But first we want to see how far we go, because we have to make these little cyclone cones. So we're going to make those on the side, and I'm going to create just a cylinder over here. I'm going to pull it out on the side, doesn't matter where. And let's make it 30 millimeters. We have many cyclones. Let's make 20 tall. See what this says. How about 50 tall? That's good. 50 tall. Now these things are actually cones, and this is the next step where we get to use two options. You have a draft, which I don't know if it really works really well on the cone. Yeah, it does. That's one way of making a cone. And the other way is to use the chamfer and just use the two distanced chamfer. So if, let's say you want to start on the small end. This is my common way of making a cone. Start in the small end, you pull up and pull in. And that's really it. Really simple. Let's say I do this. I do this because this is my most common way. This is the chamfer, which is why I wish they had a quick selection tool for the chamfer. But the other way is, again, the draft. So, depends on your workflow, I guess. We're going to shell this as well. So let's cut the top off. Let's make it 2 millimeters. I think it should be pretty standard across. Now the bottom, we are actually going to put a hole in it. So why don't we do this? Because it has to pull out from there. No, what am I doing? 30. How about 10? That's good. Hit Q or E, doesn't matter. -5 because we want to go past it. And now we have sort of a bottom ring like this. And this is one of our many cones that will go around it. You see how fast you can really work once you just kind of get the hang of the tools. So now I'm going to bring it over. And I'm going to put, this is the next little tip, is your pivot points when you move objects. This is a handy way to recenter things because I don't want to use the origin as out here somewhere. I want it to be right in the center. It doesn't actually change the origin of the object, but what you do is you select the point where it moves from. You set the point, and once you're set, don't move it yet because you're just moving this around. Hit the check mark to finish it off, and then it attaches itself to that location. And the reason why I want to put it in the center is because we have to angle these around. Now, if I put this here and I angle it out and then pull it out, you can copy the distance if you want. Just go back in the video. Let me go back here. So I angle it down, what was it, 15 degrees? Let's go 20 because we want some space in here. And then I'm going to pull it out because we have the cap 10. There we go. Again, this is not a copy. I'm just going out of the top of my head here. This is one of our cones. And I'm going to show you a really cool tool called Lofting. Actually, let me pull this out even more. Hit M on the keyboard. Select the bottom of this and it locks in there. And go -10 again. No, what am I doing? 10. My minus button's not working, it looks like. -10, there we go. We're going to make a crazy looking cap. There's this, and then we have the top here. So the Cyclone, I think I remember there's something to do with a inner circle that is not really obvious. So you need to new sketch, click the edge of your Cyclone container here. Click here. We're going to go, I think let's go 12. There we go. And I want a offset, which is something we used a few times so far. Click that. And we're going to put -2. No, let's go 2. Let's make it on the opposite direction like this. There we go. Now hit E. Click your inscribe or inside circle there. And you go let's go 5 and see how far down that is. Not far. -15. Because I think what happens is it sucks up through this inside circle, but this outside edge with this gap between the inlet, it does something to do with the site. I remember watching some documentary on it a while back, or some video explaining how it works. That distance, if I click it between there, is important. Okay. Next, we're going to fill this gap, but we're not going to fill it normally. We're going to fill it with a bit of a cone. So we're going to create a circle. And that's it. This is another handy thing with sketches. I didn't mention this. Create a sketch, and you select what same things before. Select that. But watch this. I'm not going to actually draw anything because the sketch already found these edges. So finish the sketch. Start it and finish it right away. And then you hit E or Q. I'm going to hit Q this time. I'm going to select all of these things. And then I'm going to pull up. let's say 10. And I'm going to join it. Let's separate it for now. New body. Next, I'm going to chamfer this on a equal distance. And that way I have that. Now this is still a solid object. If you want to look at it, let's find our plane. Last video we talked about the analysis tool. You can see how it's a solid top, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to select this, hit E, and it's going to automatically select that circle because, once you create a sketch, it finds the lines that are available for whatever object you are planing off of. Drag it through and it turns to cut automatically. If not, just make sure it says cut and you're cutting right through it. And this is going to be our sort of outlet. But now I want to join these together. Maybe it'd be a cap. I don't know, you can make a screw-on cap if you want. And now, actually, forget that. Go back, don't join them together. You gotta shell it first, and we're gonna shell. You can turn it off and go on the inside like this, but like I said in the last video, it's so hard to find certain angles, so analysis is really handy. Select this, hit 2, and look at that. Now you have 2 sections. If you really wanted to, this is another part. If we go to, I hope this works, sometimes it gives me errors. If we go to offset face, select this, hit 2, it doesn't come out. Yeah, that's what I thought. If I hit this and hit 4, no, it does that. See, this is where I'm getting in trouble here. But I could make a new ring. Let's say I remove this. If I want to have an inset ring so it locks in, right? I can make it even a threaded ring, but I'm sure you can figure that out. Let's not go there. We got more to do first. So for that, that's the start of our cyclone. Next step is to remove the analysis and create a bit of a ring around the bottom, which we will then attach to the top here. So let me do this first before I explain it in too much detail. New sketch, click here. Again, mine's not snapping the sketch, the view. It's turned off. It's in your preferences up on your little icon there. Under the design tab, it's auto look at sketch. I have that turned off. So if yours is snapping up to whatever it is, this is why mine doesn't. I just prefer it this way because you find the right angle, you look at it, then create a sketch. And the reason being is I don't want it to change my view because I always end up changing back. This is why I'm doing it this way. Here we go. We have to find the center. That little circle there appears. Pull it out. That's 16. So why don't we go 18? Gonna select just those. Pull it down. Let's say 3 millimeters. Give it a nice new body. And we have our first inset ring. Next, analysis, come over here. I'm going to actually hide that body. And I'm going to hit Q and bring this in just 0.5, just a bit. 0.5, that's good. Why? Because I'm going to make that inset, like I said before. If I measure the distance between here and here, 0.5, that's good. Exactly what I want. It's like anything in construction, you want to measure twice. 9.5. Let's check. See? Measure 3 times. 10. Because it's a radius and not a diameter. Like that. Remove the analysis, and we're going to pull up 2. Now, because this one is turned off, it's not going to attach to it, so turn it off. This is the whole join problem with Fusion, is that if it's touching something else, it'll join to that as well. So watch that. If you don't want it to, just turn the object off, and it will think of it as non-combative. That's it. Setup, analysis, good. We have this. If you want to be exact, you'd actually pull it out, maybe 0.1 millimeters, because nothing in life is perfect, but this is good for now. That's, I guess, it depends on how you're designing. If you're designing for a render, then yes. If you're designing for manufacturing, you make it perfect, and the manufacturing will cause those default distances. Okay, so we have the ring. We have our beginning of a cyclone. Let's see what happens if we duplicate it all the way around. Click, click, click. Those 3 bodies. Hit our circular pattern down here. Mine's pinned at the top. They're already selected because I clicked them. So objects to copy. Axis, I want to rotate around this axis, and we want to see how many of these cyclones we can fit. Ooh, look at this. 11. I think Dyson has 10. I can get 12. I beat Dyson. Look at that. Theirs is probably better. This is just for fun. So there we go. We got 12 cyclones all the way around. Now, if I find out where... Actually, let's go back and let's categorize this a bit better. Let's call it cyclone. And then... What is that? Why is it separated? Okay, cyclone cap. No space. Hide that. Oh, that's why it's not attached. That's fine. Cyclone inner liner. And then we have cyclone bottom cap. So select all of them, right click, and then create a component. Oh, here's the other thing. Go back. I don't want that. Okay, the last video I mentioned how when you make components, sometimes it doesn't always put it in the right place. I just forget sometimes. So this is the next step. Just make your first thing. Let me go back again. Sorry, I moved too fast here. Your cyclone, the main body, create component. It becomes a component. The body is still called the exact same thing. Now your other ones, highlight them, drag them over to the bodies folder underneath your cyclone component. Now what happens is when I click that, I hit duplicate, same thing as before. What did I say, 12? Now it creates individual components. Do it this way. This is the better way to do it. What I did before was a bit rushed, and it will cause you so many more problems down the road. It's just an organizational nightmare. You don't want that. This is what you want. Okay, we have our cyclones. Next step, we are going to pull, we're going to create 2 things here. We need a bottom shell, and that is, let me see how to do this. That's going to be interesting. So let's try this way. I'm going to create a sketch on the outer ring, and I'm going to pull a new circle on the inside, which is, what did I say, 42? 45, 43, 44. What is that diameter? Escape, escape, escape. Diameter is 44. Okay. So create it on the inside is 44. I guess I didn't mention that at the very beginning. I'm sorry. That way, because when I created this sketch, it locked on the outside edges. It doesn't actually select the inside edges. You have to make the inside edges yourself. Select that, and let's go up 2 millimeters because that's our standard wall height. New body, good. Next step, we are going to extrude this up a whole bunch because what's happening is the vacuum is sucking from below, and there's 2 tubes, an inside tube and an outside tube, and we'll separate them later. Join, that's fine. Oh no, don't join. Go forward. Do that again. Extrude. '80's fine, new body. Because what's happening in the vacuum here, just a quick explanation, it's the air is being, the motor's down here below, so it's sucking down. This is like what I think it's doing, I might be wrong. Sucking down, but there'll be tubes attached to each cyclone, so it's kind of sucking down, and then these are sucking into the tube, and these will be attached to the outer shell on the inside of this thing. Let me analysis this. On this part, in the outer cavern, and then that is attached to another tube that goes to your vacuum end. So it comes in here, the cyclone keeps the dust, and the dust falls down, I think, into here, a big cavern, the dust collector. And these little inlets, I said they were important before because they stop the dust from coming up as much as possible, and then it goes out. So that's basically it. It's like a filter-free, very simple thing. I forget who originally, I want to say Tesla came up with this idea with his one-way water valve, where one way is fast, one way it slows down exponentially. You can look it up. Tesla water valve probably will show it. So we're set for this. Okay, so we have to attach these to the bottom here. We're going to make a new cap. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy one of these caps, and we'll use the alignment tool, another fun tool. I'm trying to use as many tools as I can when I show you these kind of things. So if you're building with me, great. If not, if you're just watching and listening like Bob Ross, all the power to you. So here we go. Cyclone. We're going to copy this. No, I don't want that. I just want the body. Command C or Control C for copy. You can right click and copy as well. It's right there. And then right click paste or Command and Control V. Let's bring it down a bit out of the way, our copy. You can see it's right there. We're going to rename this Cyclone Bottom Connector because it's not a cap anymore. It's a connector. Alignment tool is one of my favorites. Now this here is where you have to pay attention. This is a body. It's under the bodies. So I'm going to select the bottom of this body, and then I'm going to select to this top here, and it just snaps to it. That's it. You can select, let's say, this ring, and then if I select this ring, watch what happens. It goes onto the inside right in the middle. So there's a bunch of different ways you can use the alignment tool. Depends on what you select and what else you align it to. You can align, if you hold, another trick is to hold your shift button, hold your command button, and you can, once you select a face like this without clicking, just hover over it, hold command or control, slide over, and you can select individual points if you get more. There's tons of options. The other thing is, if it's a component, not a body, make sure you select components because it will react differently depending on whatever you're doing. But we just want this. It's the basic face-to-face. And I think that's actually pretty good with the outside edge. I'm going to measure that because I want to see just how far away I am. I am 0.185 millimeters. What I'll do here is I'll use my alignment tool. Watch this. Line that edge to this edge. Where did it go? To the center. Didn't do what I want because I already knew that. What am I doing? Either way, this is fine. I'm going to move this, select the center. I'm going to move it -2 just to give it a bit of a buffer because the inside edge is 2 millimeters, right? I don't want to overlap that. Okay, so that's set. Next, I'm going to create a cut, which I won't use yet because we have to copy this 1,000 times over. 9, down, new body. You can see it right there. New body doesn't interfere at all. And now we are set. Last thing is I don't need this little cap. I'm going to hit Q, select my little very thin edge here, and hit 1 just to give it something to work off of, and then select this, and it dropped right down there. If you already know the number, type it in, but if not, you can always just do that. So now I have those two separate things. Next, we are going to select both of these, and we are going to duplicate them 12 times all the way around using our circular pattern tool. 12, enter. We're set. Now, fun part begins. Combine. Select here, select your cap, and select this. I guess it would be 2 objects if you're manufacturing it, but we're going to make it a really fancy single. Actually, You know what? Let's keep it as 2 objects. That's what we want. I'm going to select my cap. I can select it. This does it sometimes. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to find each one of these in my list instead of hovering over every single one. Where's the other one? Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Any more I'm missing? No. Those, so what I did is I select the top cap of the main body and my cuts that we made a minute ago, we haven't actually cut yet, and then hit the cut button, and now we have a whole bunch of holes in there, as if it's a proper vacuum that actually works. Okay, next we're going to have a bit of fun here with this, and I'll show you in a second. We're going to make it look really cool. Select that and then select connector all the way down to connectors. I'm holding shift when I select these. That way it selects them all. Hit OK, we're done. Now we are going to hit the chamfer button. Click, click, click. This one's a bit cumbersome, because if I select my edge preference, it will hover over other edges. It's just going to cause extra trouble. So I'll just go through. It's only 12 clicks, 13 clicks now. Rotate around, middle mouse button, shift, rotate around. And it's too high, so I'm going to hit 2. Let's go 3, 2.5, 2 it is. That's fine. 2 it is. Okay. Next step is, this is where we get a little bit more cumbersome, and I'll skip a whole bunch of stuff so it won't be as pretty. But this tool here, the Loft Tool, is going to connect 2 objects. And you can connect them through multiple phases. And I'll show you that in a minute on a side example. But if I select this and then select this, what it does is it should, it doesn't. The loft cannot be created. Try changing the inputs or swapping the profiles. Really? It's supposed to join this and make a new body. Okay. Sometimes it does this for me. I'm sorry if you're watching this. But what we'll do is we'll take the cyclones and let's move them up 5 and see if it gives it enough distance to work with. Sometimes it's honestly just the distance for some reason. I don't exactly know why. Yes, capture. Select that edge. Won't let me capture. There we go. Select the edge. It still doesn't do it. Okay. I'm going to pause and figure this out. I'll be back in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I figured it out, and it has to do with the inside hole. We're going to fix this pretty quick, and all I want to do is find your Cyclone 1, the first one. Go over to it because it should affect the rest. I hope it does. And you're going to unclick it. You're going to push Q, which is press pull. You're going to find the inside circle here, the inside shell. If you can't select it, this is one of those quirks of Fusion. What you will do is just save it, close it, and then go back and reopen the file, and you should be able to click it again. It happens sometimes. Fusion gets lost with what you can select. I'm going to hit 5. 5 should close it all the way. Hit enter, and it closes them all too because they're all copies of each other. Go down to the bottom here, same thing. Hit 5, close it. And now if I hit loft, one of those things, it lofts it all. Now I saw the other ones aren't actually closed. Analyze it. Yeah, they're all still there. Interesting. Where was that combine? Is this it? I go back. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to delete that combine. And that way, look, they're all still there, those inserts. So I'm going to select all my bodies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. Right click and remove. I don't need them. It's still there. Oh well. 5. Okay. Individually. It's one of those things. This is as we get better and better at Fusion and we do more and more complicated stuff. It just does these little quirky whatevers. I hit Q for press pull. Select them all. Hit 5. And they're all gone. Get rid of this body. I don't need it because that's the other one I missed. Where's my first cyclone? Over here. Let's do this. Here we go. Loft it. Long story long. You see what happens? It sort of takes those two faces and it joins them together in the most averaged way it possibly can. What I would like to do is have a separate, them all connected together. And what that would be is we'd make a middle part, but we won't do that today. We'll just keep this as a fancy one. Join. No, new bodies. Did it not do it? Why didn't it work? Here we go. Select, select, new body. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, that's fine. Copy, 1,000,000 times 12. Okay, so we have this. Next step is to make this join into this, and this is going to be a bit harder, but what I want to try and use is our split body, which is super handy, and offset probably not. These ones, I don't actually use these myself very much, just the split body, which I keep up here. We use the shell, we use the draft, silhouette, we don't need that either, but these are all pretty self-explanatory. It's just I find some of these a bit redundant. Like this, I never use it. I use the split body instead. It's just your workflow, right? Everyone has different workflows. This has to join into all of these. And let's see what happens if I pull this out just a bit more. This is not what Dyson would look like by any means. 90. Go. If I hit Loft and I select this, nothing happens. What we have to do is close these off with, let me pause, I'll come back in a second. Now what I found was, it's the same issue as down below where if I had the hole in it, it wouldn't loft. You know, it used to do this with me, it used to be fine, but I guess it's just this design, sometimes it doesn't work properly. So I'm going to show you two different ways to make a tube, I guess you can say, because this is going to be copied over top into the center, and this is going to be all the way around. Each one will have their own tube going into the center cap of this vacuum. And we'll add the hole later with the shell command, because that will be an easy way to keep it even all the way throughout. So this is the first way, and this is it depends on your preference. This is not as exact, but you can really pick exact, you can pick the angles you really want it to move at, because the loft is just connecting face to face to face. So here's what I did. I took this here, I just made a sketch on top of it, hit E right away, extruded one, went to new body, and then I took this and I moved it, hit M, and I moved it and angled it. I just moved it up until it was where I wanted it to be, hit OK, and then I clicked it and hit Command C or Copy C, Control C on Windows, and dragged it over, and did each and every single one, and go back until I got all of these in a basic shape. Next step is to hit your loft, click the first face. Next, you can skip it, but I like to do both faces. Why? Because you can see the curve. I unselect it, right? It doesn't make the nicest curves all the time. This one is not that bad, but if you want individual sections, especially with flat rings, let's say you have a clamp, a ring clamp, you can do this and it will keep that little flat section for you. So there's a few different thoughts to consider as you do it. And if I finish it off by going over here, now I have all these tubes and my computer is thinking super hard. If I hit join, it will connect them all together into a single object. Where are we? Way down below here. Oh, I see. Into a single, yeah, into the component. That's one way of doing it. The next way is if I select all of these and we remove. The next step is to make actually a drawing, a sketch, and pull it up and draw exactly what we want. So here is where our construction planes become very helpful because I can't really get to that. I can find, let's see, what body is this? The main body? Main body. I should make this into a component as well. Main body. I'm going to actually use my, where is it? Analysis. There we go. Okay, so I want to make a plane, select this. It should be exactly on the edge here. Now here's where we get into a different sort of sketching tool, and that is the 3D, which you don't need to use right now, but it's helpful because when you click it, the next time you turn a tool on, it will allow you to select anywhere in 3D space and sketch. So let's say I wanted to start here. I can actually sketch, if I sketch straight up, and then I can sketch over to here and finish. You can see how I now have technically a 3D sketch. That's one tool we haven't really mentioned yet, so I wanted to just touch on it, but we don't need this because we're just sketching one over one plane and sweeping it. So let's find the center if we can. Oh, I can't. I need the 3D sketch. Find the center and then turn it off. I hope it stays off. I'm going to go somewhat straight out for a little bit, and I'm going to end that sketch because it's a rounded. So if I ended it, it stayed straight. If I added one more point, it would have been curved. And now I'm going to select straight and no, go back. Select the proper one. Give it some nice room to breathe. There we go. A little bit of an ugly curve, but oh well. Actually, I'm going to finish that off and finish this with a curve from that angle. There we go. Next, we are going to look at that sketch, nice and pretty, finish it off. And the next sort of sister to the loft is called sweep. And sweep, you need something to guide it. You can use a flat straight line in a box if you want. What I'm going to do is select the profile, which is this circle here. And the path it's going to follow is this one, and bam, we have exactly what we sketched turned into the tube. Okay, next is to turn off all of these cyclones. Actually, I'm just going to use the, I'll leave it on. Use this, analysis. I'm going to add our top cap here. Click there. Let's create a circle all the way out to 44. Hit E for extrude, or Q if you want. Does the same thing in this regard. Pull it up and it changes to cut, and that's fine. I'm going to pull it past the tubes because I want some kind of barrier. Go to new body, hit OK. And next we're going to use our, where is it? Raft. And we can turn off the analysis for this. Select this. I think I selected the wrong edge actually. And the face. Yeah, the wrong edge. Draft. Select the outer. No, come on. Is it not going to work for me? This is why I don't use draft very much. I just don't like it. I'm going to use chamfer. So come down just to where the tubes are. Just a nice, let's go a bit further. That's fine. To distance, and now I'll pull this down a bit to give it a bit more clean clearance. Hit OK. Now comes the fun part. Do we want to join these together or not? It's up to you. It's a workflow thing. But either way, I'm going to click this and I'm going to hollow it out. I guess I have to do this again. Hollow it out. So click it and click the tool, hollow the bottom out. Let's go 2. You can see it makes that. And then comes one of my favorite tools as well, split body. I'm going to select this tube here, and I'm going to split it along the inside. This, and that way it cuts off this excess. And now you can see I have all these extra parts, so I can click, 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 and click, right click, remove. You can see how they're all gone now. And you can go through and join things together, try different options. But we should make a new analysis and put it down here so we can actually click those insides. Did it remove them all? I'm guessing it did. Let me move this. It did remove them all. Nice. You clicked one and removed them all. Okay, so we are set with that. So you can see what's happening here. Next step is we take this and we would have to, I guess we have to separate here. So what I really want to do is take this, split the body along this edge here. And that way it's a separate funnel. Then I would shell here, make it 2, make it 4. Does 4 work? Doesn't work. This is where I'm getting in trouble here. 1, no. Okay, extrude, -2, -2. Let's see if this works now. It's more even. Shell. See, sometimes Fusion does not like you very much. So here is the next troublesome problem-solving skill here. Watch. That same sketch we used right here, and turn it back on. I'm going to make a new profile on here. Find the center, pull out, what is it, 11? Let's go 10, 11. Okay, 12 it is. Here's my profile, finish sketch. So now I have that there. Go to my sweep, select this as my profile, and select this. And it should, there it is. Look at that beauty. Cuts right through. Using the exact same profile we used to sweep. So I guess in this scenario, you'd want to use this over Loft because you have to do a whole bunch of extra steps. Sweep would be a lot faster. You can use the exact same thing, so it keeps the exact distances. And we cut, and everything else should be cut. If not, what just happened? I'm not a fan of this right now. Now, what I've done is I've shown you a few different tools in here, including sweep and loft and whatever else. I clicked the wrong profile. Where's that sketch? There it is. Not working for some reason. Let me try one more thing just to show you other options, see if it works. Fusion can do this sometimes. This is where our lesson videos, again, get into a bit of a problem solving. There's an error down there. new body. Okay, so it creates a new body. If I do this, combine, cut, and I'm also going to keep it around. So I'm going to keep that cutting tool. And I'm also going to select this and the inside, and then I'm going to get rid of it. So now I've done that and I've cut them all. But what you can do is you can go through, and you probably want to join it, but then cut all of them around one by one, because that is exactly what you'll have to do. And then you'll have your open funnel tube and join them all together, and you can do the same thing down here, right? Create a profile, draw a line, sweep it through. If we take this and this, why don't we join them together? Like that. Actually, not that, because the bottom won't work. Individually, 1, 2, connect. If I shell that with a 2, that works really well. And then I go 1. No, keep it 2. But you get what I'm doing here. And since this is basically straight down, I can hit E, extrude, and pull down 5, minus 5, minus 8. And you can extrude straight down there, and you can make the actual vacuum workable. Now, I hope this is beginning to help you get the hang of some of these tools. A modify section, you'll be using a whole bunch as you use these different tools to get the results you need. It depends on what it is. We talked about, not that, we talked about the sweep tool, Loft Tool, creating a 3D sketch to align everything here. You just got to get the hang of using different things. And this is why I want to make these videos just like this, where we problem solve and go through and use Fusion for what it's designed to do. Not everything works great, not everything works amazing, but mostly Fusion is an extremely versatile program, and I personally love using it, and I look forward to using it for a long time in the future. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.